Welcome to the Joy and Vitality Show with Rachel White, motivational speaker, author, and life coach.
Hi, welcome to the Joy and Vitality Show with Rachel White. Hi, my name is Rachel White, motivational speaker, author, and I'm going to talk about virtue today. And the one particular one I'm going to speak on is courage. So, deep in a vast jungle where the trees touched the sky and the rivers flowed like silver ribbons, lived a lion named Leo. He was known as the king of the jungle, a fierce and proud leader, respected by all animals. Yet, despite his mighty appearance, he had he harbored a secret fear. He was terrified of thunderstorms. Every time the skies darkened and the rumble of thunder echoed through the jungle, Leo would retreat to his den, hiding away until the storm passed. He felt ashamed of this fear, for what kind of king trembled at the sound of thunder? Well, in the same jungle lived a tiny bird named Pete. Unlike the other birds who soared effortlessly through the skies, Pete was different. He was scared of heights. While his fellow birds flew high above the treetops, Pete preferred to perch on the lower branches where he felt safe. His fear kept him grounded, watching the world from below, longing to join the others, but too afraid to spread his wings and fly. One day, a fierce storm began to gather on the horizon. The sky darkened, the wind howled, and the first raindrops began to fall. As the storm grew closer, the wind picked up, and before Pete could secure his nest, a strong gust blew it to the top of the tallest tree in the jungle. Pete stared up at the tree, his heart pounding. His nest, with everything he held dear, was now perched high above the ground. Now, Pete was afraid of heights, as I said. So he was petrified that his nest was blown up that high. So Pete stared up at the tree. His heart started pounding. Everything he held dear was there. And the other birds had already left and flown away, seeking shelter from the storm, leaving Pete alone and trembling below. As the first crack of thunder echoed through the jungle, Leo felt his old fear rising within himself. He wanted to retreat to his den, to hide until the storm had passed, but just as he was about to turn away, he heard a soft cry. Peering through the rain, Leo saw Pete sitting at the base of the tall tree, staring helplessly at his nest high above. So, Pete was afraid, his heart pounding. His nest is high up on the highest treetop. What's Pete gonna do? Well, when Leo heard the crack of thunder echoed through the jungle, he wanted to retreat, but he heard the soft cry of Pete, and Leo saw him sitting at the base of the tall tree, staring helplessly at his nest. Leo padded over to the little bird. "What's wrong, Pete?" he asked, his deep voice gentle despite the growing storm. "My nest," Pete cried. "It's stuck up there and I can't reach it. I'm too afraid to fly that high." Leo looked up at the swaying nest, then down at the small bird. Inside, the storm of his own fear raged just as fiercely as the one outside. But something about Pete's helplessness stirred something in Leo. He couldn't hide from his fear, not when someone needed his help. So, "You can do it, Pete," Leo said, through his voice quivered slightly. "You're stronger than you think. I'll stay with you. Go ahead and try it. I'll stay right here and be with you. Just try." So Pete looked up at Leo, his tiny heart racing. Leo's words, but his fear of heights was overwhelming. He wanted to believe Leo's words, but the fear of heights was overwhelming for Pete. Yet, seeing the mighty lion standing firm despite the thunder rumbling in the distance gave Pete the courage to try. With a deep breath, Pete spread his wings and flapped upward. The wind buffeted him, and for a moment Pete thought he'd fall. But Leo's presence below grounded him. Higher and higher he flew, his wings trembling, but he didn't stop. Below, Leo watched Pete struggle, feeling his own fear of the storm pounding in his chest. The rain was pouring now, and the thunder crashed louder, but Leo did not move. He roared at the sky as if defying the storm itself, refusing to let his fear control him any longer. Finally, after what felt like eternity, Pete reached the nest. His tiny claws gripped the edge of the branch as he carefully secured it. His heart raced, but pride swelled within him. He had done it. Pete carefully carried the nest back down, fluttering through the rain until he landed safely on the ground. "You did it," Leo said with a wide smile, shaking his wet mane. Pete, though exhausted, chirped with delight. "I couldn't have done it without you," he said, his voice still trembling. "You gave me the courage to try." "And you gave me the courage to stay," Leo admitted, glancing at the dark sky where the storm was finally beginning to pass. "I've always been afraid of the thunderstorms, but seeing you face your fear made me realize that even the strongest of us can be scared. It's what we do in the face of that fear that matters." The rain slowed to a drizzle, and soon the clouds began to part, revealing the first rays of sunshine. The jungle seemed to sigh with relief as the storm passed, and the animals, one by one, began to emerge from their shelters. From that day on, Pete no longer let his fear of heights hold him back. He flew higher each day, knowing that courage wasn't about being fearless. It was about acting despite the fear. And as for Leo, whenever a storm rolled in, he no longer hid away in his den. Instead, he faced the storm head on, a king who had learned that true courage comes from within, no matter the size of the creature who wields it. And so, the jungle animals spoke of the lion and the little bird, who taught each other that courage is not the absence of fear, but the strength to move forward despite it. Moral of the story: courage is not about having no fear, but about moving forward even when you are afraid. Thank you for listening to that. So, the virtue of courage, building emotional intelligence with parents and kids. I have this strong desire to reach out to assist parents in building emotional intelligence with their children. First of all, understanding courage. Courage is often seen as the ability to comfort or confront fear, pain, or adversity. It's not just about heroics on the battlefield or acts of physical bravery. Courage also encompasses emotional strength and willingness to embrace vulnerability. This type of courage is crucial in building emotional intelligence within families, particularly between parents and children. The role of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the capacity to recognize and understand and manage our own emotions, as well as recognizing and understanding and influencing the emotions of others. It's a vital skill that allows individuals to communicate effectively, empathize with others, and overcome challenges. Now, the key components of emotional intelligence, I've said this before. Number one, self awareness, recognizing one's emotions and how their emotions affect their thoughts and behaviors. Uh, Being aware of your true beliefs and what it is that you believe and value, and are your beliefs and values lining up with your actions. Then two, self-regulation has a lot to do with managing emotions in healthy ways, controlling impulsive feelings and behaviors. It's going to take discipline and self-control, temperance, and motivation. You need motivation so you can harness emotions to pursue goals with energy and persistence. So you need motivation. You need motivation and inspiration, positivity, and then you have empathy, understanding emotions of others and responding appropriately. So you want to be able to convey empathy, not just feel it and have it, but demonstrate empathy to others appropriately for the situation. And then five, social skills. Managing relationships to move people in desired directions. Then I want to say that cultivating courage and emotional intelligence in families. One, you want to encourage open communication. Create an environment where both parents and children feel safe to express their thoughts and emotions without judgment. The openness helps foster self-awareness and empathy. Number two, you want to model courageous behavior. As parents, demonstrate courage in everyday situations, whether it's admitting a mistake, showing vulnerability, or tackling a difficult task. Children learn by observing how you handle challenges. You want to validate emotions. Acknowledge and validate your child's emotions, even if they seem trivial to you. This practice strengthens their emotional regulation and encourages them to be more empathetic towards others. Teach problem-solving skills to the children. Guide children through problem-solving processes, encouraging them to face fears and obstacles head-on. This builds resilience and motivates them to persevere through challenges. And five, you want to celebrate small wins. recognize and celebrate acts of courage, no matter how small. This reinforces positive behavior and boosts children's confidence in their ability to handle difficult situations. Now, bringing all this to conclusion, building emotional intelligence through the lens of courage is a powerful way to strengthen family bonds. By fostering environment of openness, understanding, and resilience, parents and children can develop the courage needed to face life's challenges together. This journey not only enhances individual growth, but also cultivates a supportive and nurturing family. So, I want to thank you for joining me at the Joy and Vitality Show with Rachel White. And come and see me again every Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you want to stay for Q&A, you're welcome. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining the Joy and Vitality Show with Rachel White. Blessings.